Welcome in to a Friday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Remember our friends online at GEAUXChevrolet.com, as you can find them in LaPlace, Louisiana, and over in Baton Rouge at Go Express Auto Sales, GEAUXChevrolet.com. Remember, you can find them there. We'll talk Pels. It's game day. We will go down to New Orleans, and we will link up this morning with Brooke Kirchhofer, who is a WWL TV sports reporter and covers the New Orleans Pelicans. We'll ask her about the vibe in the city and about getting ready for tonight's Game 3 in New Orleans, where Devin Booker has officially been ruled out of tonight's matchup, and it looks like the rest of the series, as there would be a possibility, I guess, if this thing went 7, as maybe he could come back, but Phoenix saying that he's going to be out a week or two.
2 to 3 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks with the hamstring, which is going to leave him out of the meat of this this playoff run here for the Pelicans. So good news, not pulling for injury at all, but just as far as the game goes, Devin Booker not being available for the Phoenix Suns gives New Orleans a hell of an advantage on defense tonight, on the things that they can do. We'll talk to Brooke about some of the things that she's learned and some of the vibes in the city as they get ready for tip-off tonight. It should be fun catching up with what's going on down in New Orleans. We'll also talk to Nathan Velasquez in our regular 8:30 segment, as Nathan is here every Friday. And we'll also have our Foodie Friday segment, compliments of Iverstein's, as the cooking couple will be in serving us up here on this Friday as well. So
what are they making? Do we know?
I don't.
Pork.
Pork
Did
belly?
y'all
Is it pork belly?
Oh,
There
yeah,
was
they
some-
did say that.
they put the Iverstein's video out of her shopping with Galen. Galen does a little intro. I will pull it up. Obviously, we'll play it before they come in. But there seemed to be a couple of different versions of pork. So I don't know what they're doing. I would guess because they went to, what's the Italian market?
Canatella's.
It might be a little pasta in the morning, type of maybe a little fried egg in there is what my guess would be.
Okay.
Nice.
That's
Which
a
would
very
be-
specific guess. I
Well,
feel
I
like
just-
you know more.
No, that's it. That's all I know. I'm
It might be a little pasta with fried egg in it. I don't know.
I'm putting the clues together. They've hinted at it on previous shows, so I think that's what it might
Okay.
be.
Looking forward to it as always. The cooking couple here. Whoa.
That would be a way different segment.
It would be. way
Cooking
different.
couple here on this Friday for our Foodie Friday segment,
Good
as
church.
always. Brought to you by Iverstein's, as Iverstein's every Friday getting us ready here for our Foodie Friday, and looking forward to it. We'll talk about LSU baseball. Tigers going into a Game 2 tonight versus Missouri, as last night they win Game 1 5-3, and Mikhail Hilliard was the stars. Hilliard improved to 4-0 on the year as he limited Missouri to 2 runs on 7 hits in 7 innings, gave up no walks, 5 strikeouts, and just over 100 pitches of action last night, as LSU improved to 25-12 on the season. They got to 500 in the league. Jacob Berry last night was the offensive star, as he was 3 for 4 at the plate.
Jerry
Perry
was so
Jerry
happy.
Berry.
2 home runs.
That's us.
Couple of ribbies, 3 runs scored for the superstar. His first home run gave LSU a 1-0 lead in the first. His second, which was the 12th of the season for Berry, was the one that really kind of closed the door on Missouri, as LSU wins 5-3. Game 2 coming up tonight for you at 6:30 will be the first pitch, and that one will be telecast on the SEC Network Plus.
I only saw the N, and Paul Gervais, is that how
Yeah.
you say his last name? Damn.
Yeah.
I mean, he's good. He's
Pauly
so
G?
freaking tall.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he like towers over everybody. But yeah, he was
Third
great.
save of the season for Gervais. It
Third
found
save
something.
since he's been on mic'd up
There
as
you
well.
go. Yeah.
Then
He
hot.
was great.
He is. He's definitely. It looks like they've definitely found something at the back end of that pitching staff with Gervais, as he was able to come in again and close it out last night for LSU. So Game 2 coming up. This is a must-sweep series, it feels like.
That's what Mikey
for
was
LSU.
saying, just to be able to kind of put this in your back pocket and kind of get right with the league and be able to kind of make a statement going into and save yourself for a regional. So that's what, by proxy, my knowledge has come from, was Mikey saying, if you sweep here, everything's back in play.
Well, and won't
So
they be like second in the West?
Right,
If
like
they
it's
swept us?
everybody
Yeah.
is
Well, everybody's
everybody
kinda
is
jumbled up.
jockeying. Yes, yeah. And so it's just it's a bar fight for a
Yeah.
second. So if you're able to get a sweep here, it feels like LSU baseball would have a chance to host a regional, which is what you really want.
Right.
Because LSU can always get hot if that's the
Yeah.
case.
Yeah.
LSU spring football is coming down the stretch, so we'll talk a little bit more baseball before we get out of here at 9 a.m. this morning. But Tigers win last night. Mikhail Hilliard, the star, as he improves to 4-0 in the season, and Jacob Berry with a couple of home runs last night as they got it. They got it going offensively and were able to get the win 5-3. Game 2 coming up at you tonight, 6:30. Remember, daily, we're brought to you by True Blue Water, trubluewater.com. Every single day here on the Jordy Culotta Show, we have our True Blue Water. Our official spice is Papa Earl's. Remember, Papa Earl's, 30% less sodium than the competition. You can find them anywhere you shop locally. Pick them up at Rouse's, High Neighbor, anywhere you want to shop and pick up Papa Earl's, 30% less sodium. And then our phone line every day is brought to you by Metropolitan Health Group. Real doctors, real solutions. Get in touch with Metropolitan Health Group over there with Jason Ramazan and Charlie Harvey. We will talk to Brooke Kirchhofer coming up here at Kirchhofer coming up here at 8 a.m. this morning and kind of get the vibe of the city yesterday. And I had a chance to be in New Orleans yesterday, which I was on Inside New Orleans with Eric Asher again. Always love going down there and hanging out with the people over at WLAE TV, and had a good day and talking to them about some of the things that they had coming up from a digital standpoint. And went down and met with a new client down there in New Orleans. It's really cool to see kind of the reach of this medium, right? I mean, like where we came from, we were in radio, and radio is kind of it's got boundaries, it's got sidelines, it's got it's got a certain area that it'll only play in. Here on this format, we can reach all over the world. Anywhere you are, you can access the Jordy Culotta Show. And, we get a lot of people that tune in and interact with us from the Houston area because of the LSU alumni base over in the Dallas, Austin area. You've seen that really start to explode and expand. So you get a lot of interaction from people over there talking LSU. We also, talk to and hear from people throughout the state, throughout South Louisiana, Lafayette. We've got some advertisers over there, our friend Lance Beal, and obviously Sterling Automotive with Mikey Matuk, but now we're starting to see people reach out to us from an advertising standpoint down in New Orleans, and it was good to get down there yesterday and talk to a couple of people, Dr. Roach over at the men's clinic, which was a really good meeting, and looking forward to our partnership that will form down there, but really just talking to some of the people that came in and out of some of our meetings in New Orleans. A lot of people are listening to the show down there. A lot of people are picking up on the show. A lot of people are following us from a digital standpoint, which is really cool to see, seeing the show really starting to expand and get into other markets, and not only get into other markets from a listenership standpoint, but from an advertising standpoint. And that really is exciting for us over here at FM Digital Media. So we appreciate everybody kind of following where we are, and have kind of picked up this new habit. I know it's it's not on your dashboard. It may be on your dashboard in some of your vehicles, but it's not on everybody's dashboard. It doesn't come in cars. It doesn't come with traditional style access. But people have found us, and with the way that the world is kind of evolving in a digital way, we want to make sure that we've got options for you to get your news. So, look, we appreciate it. Yesterday was a pretty humbling day, just kind of being down there and seeing the feedback, and meeting with potential advertisers and a sponsor who is committed to us and believes in what we're doing and believes we can have effect in that market. So we appreciate it. We're just very thankful
we do.
that you're here, and we appreciate you supporting our sponsors as well. So coming up this morning, we'll talk Pelicans, we'll talk some New Orleans, but the vibe of the city yesterday was fantastic. It was a beautiful day, first and foremost. being down there on the first day of the Zurich and opening day of the Zurich down there at TPC, and the city really buzzing about the Pelicans game coming up on Friday night.
I can't wait. Shout out Lanceville for giving me tickets to that.
Yeah, Katie and David will be inside of the Blender, which I'd imagine is going to be full capacity, sold out.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Put them in a blender.
I'm telling you, I mean, everybody, we were at lunch yesterday. We went to lunch at Dome Elise's Po' Boys right there in the warehouse district.
I haven't even heard of that one.
It's a great one.
Is that awesome?
It was great. Yeah, no, it's great.
Teeth stayed intact?
Teeth stayed intact. New teeth are in. I got to go get them installed.
So they're not
Turning into a computer.
Yeah, that's right. But I mean, the whole city is talking about the Pelicans. I mean, and it's it's draft time. I mean, even some of the locals were kind of talking about what the draft strategy was going to be, and somebody was like, "Who cares? That's next week. You got to get through this weekend with the Pelicans."
That's right.
And it's just it's rare to hear that at this time of the year to see. But I mean, a lot like Jake Madison talks about, and we continue to support our guy, and he's doing great work. And if you're looking for real in-depth coverage of the Pelicans, get in touch with Jake Madison or follow Locked On Pels podcast, because he is doing a great job of following the team and following the series and really keeping you up to date with everything that's going on with the matchup with the Suns and the Pelicans. But even he talks about how New Orleans is really kind of flexing its muscle and showing that it'll support a winner at anything, right? I mean, if the NOLA Gold rugby team become the top of the league, I mean they'll sell the place out. But with the Pelicans and the feeling around the franchise and the winning that they're doing right now, I mean, the whole city is literally, buzzing about the Pelicans. I mean, everybody is all in. Everywhere you go, I mean, there's jerseys everywhere. We were, the Po' Boy spot where we were, Dome Elise's, is kind of around Tulane and around Loyola. It's kind of around a bunch of colleges, and I mean, it attracts college kids. And I mean, all of them were coming in with Brandon Ingram jerseys and Zion jerseys and CJ McCollum. You're starting to already see a little bit of McCollum love come in from the city, in just his short time here. But I mean, it's still a Saints town by every sense of the definition. But I mean, it's great to see that love and support in New Orleans for the Pelicans. And I'd imagine tomorrow night that the Smoothie King Center will be.
Tonight, you mean?
I mean, I'm sorry. Tonight.
I panicked for a minute. Like, wait.
I was thinking about my day yesterday in New Orleans. But yeah, tonight that it'll be kind of like, it'll feel like a Saints Superdome playoff experience, man. I mean, it'll be a throwback.
Rumors of Boozy performing.
Yeah.
By our guy Hold the Mayo.
Are you serious?
But non-confirmed. He might be putting it out into the ether, but that's what he said from his sources.
Okay.
And as we know, he is very plugged into New Orleans NOLA only.
Yeah.
So I would imagine he might have somebody that might know something, but that would be electric if Boozy's out there.
Yeah.
Also heard that Boozy's banned from the Smoothie King Center, so this is very Boozy territory.
Oh my gosh.
We'll see, man.
We'll see.
Bring him back.
Instagram.
Set it off
on the court. My night will be made.
Need an Herb Jones.
And I'm still manifesting that.
Jersey.
Herb. Is it Herb?
And I want 3.5 as the number.
I feel like y'all go back and forth with the Herb and Herb.
But it's going to be great. It should be great. And look, it's a great time to be in the city. If the weather is and holds up like it looks like it is, it'll be a beautiful weekend down in New Orleans. So hopefully, if you're moving around with French Quarter Fest and
the Zurich
Pelicans and the Zurich, you can, you can have a good time in New Orleans this weekend for sure. Jamie Wade, Jordy, what happened to getting the new head basketball coach on to talk? Picked up a Mississippi State player yesterday. Yeah, we confirmed with Kent Lowe that we talked to Coach Kent Lowe. We talked to Dr. Kent Lowe yesterday about Coach McMahon getting through here, and it's been a very busy week. Obviously, you've seen the latest news, just like you said. He picked up another player here
Fountain,
this week. A player from Mississippi State transferred in, Derek Fountain.
6'9", 225 pounds.
Yeah, had his best game against
boy.
LSU. Had his best game against LSU this season. But look, LSU just needs warm, blooded bodies. I mean, like, just if
Kinda
you can
one body in
play,
the other room.
just come in here,
I
man.
mean, they need players.
Yeah, but they just, I mean, at this point, they really and truly need like
Fill out the
just
roster.
people. So I mean, Derek Fountain coming over is another player, but we did confirm with Kent Lowe that Coach McMahon will be in here as soon as he can, most probably next week. He just got busy this week. We're gonna have him in studio. We want to sit down with him, and he's looking forward to it. We're looking forward to it. And as soon as we have that date and time, we will definitely let you know, so you can check that out. We're looking. I really am want to check out and listen to. I like the fact that he's going to be on the job for a couple of weeks and had gotten a couple of players, before the chance for us to sit down with him. He's kind of gotten a little bit of lay of the land, and kind of starting to get his feet underneath him, and it'll be good to kind of talk to him on that part of the process rather than instantly as soon as his feet touch the ground of, hey, what do you think? Just like I don't know yet. I mean, it's just kind of trying to find my way, and now he's starting to see a little bit of the light. So we'll have and looking forward to some good conversation with him. Hopefully
met him?
next
Yeah.
week. I've not met him officially. We've shared a couple of text messages, and
How's his text game?
strong returns them.
Punctuates?
You know what I mean? At this point, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a recruiter, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't
Abbreviated?
I ain't gotten that far yet.
Okay. Who's more of a doctor? Dr. Jerry Buss or Dr. Kent Lowe? Which one would you trust more?
I'd love to run with Bus.
That
You
wasn't
might
a
get
question,
sicker.
though.
I don't know. I don't know if the character of Dr. Jerry Buss is fake, like Jerry West is claiming that his character is not real because
GD has not said a word.
yeah, Bus that seems like that's who
sad.
he was.
Yeah.
If you go back and look at, and if you're reading and have read Jeff Pearlman's Showtime book, I mean, a lot of that, I mean, West kind of feels like that's who he is too. I mean, maybe not throwing his MVP trophy through his office door.
Did he do that though?
He says he didn't. And Kareem came out and said he didn't. But like
Okay.
in the book, Jerry West, like during games, would be driving, as Jeff Pearlman claims it, and this is like firsthand accounts. I mean, like he would drive around the forum in his car, smoking cigarettes, listening to the radio because he just couldn't watch. And he would like do that type of stuff that he was doing in the last episode where he's like throwing stuff at the radio, cussing at the radio, turning the radio off. Like they
All
said,
of that is very believable.
yeah, they
It
said like
is.
many times, like he'd like drive home at halftime, like I'm done.
And then-
Like by the end of the game, he's like back in the locker room. He's like,
It's you.
yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, even the defamation. It's kind of like, I mean, Jerry, read the room, buddy. I mean,
You're being mad about being mad.
Yeah.
So it is who you are.
It's
Like this is
exactly
what you're
right,
outing
yeah.
yourself.
Right.
but I don't know how we got there. Remember Daily, we're brought to you by Cajun Ready Mix Concrete, CajunRMC.com. Cajun Ready Mix is locally here and online at CajunRMC.com. Cajun Ready Mix Concrete has 9 locations around the greater Baton Rouge area. You can find them easily. That means to you, if you have an appointment, if you need concrete, they'll get to you on time and make sure it's to the exact specification. Find them online, CajunRMC.com. The project doesn't matter if it's residential, commercial, industrial, municipal. You can get in touch with Cajun Ready Mix. CajunRMC.com. CajunRMC.com is where you can find them online. Cajun Ready Mix Concrete is waiting on your call today, waiting for you to log online. All right, LSU spring football. By the way, did anybody see this Iron Mike Tyson
Unbelievable.
video?
Yes, we watched it like 5 times in here yesterday.
Guy deserved it, first and foremost.
did
If
he
you
do?
haven't seen it, Mike Tyson was
No, what'd the
involved.
guy do?
It looked like he was like badgering
Yeah.
for a picture, and I think Mike might even taken a picture with him.
He did. So that was the thing. He got on the plane, and Mike was very hospitable to this guy who was clearly inebriated on the plane. But he was like, "Hey, can I get a selfie?" Mike said yes. Did a little conversation, and then he just wouldn't stop. And then he became like badgering him and like touching his seat. And if there's
He
one,
What an idiot.
Did some water. I think he dumped a water bottle on him.
No, he did not.
Oh, I
that's-
didn't read that.
Because that's why Mike is like kind of like he was.
Mike
The guy
is-
started it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly. And
Like,
Mike finished it.
Yeah.
But
Which,
he-
I
know he
mean,
did
you would
that.
expect. I mean,
Mike is a pacifist now.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
a big
it says they
marijuana
threw
guy,
a
and all he
water
does is smoke. He's like, I'm not fighting anymore because I wish I'd have found this 20 years ago. And we're like, we're glad you didn't. You entertained us for
Right.
so many years.
he's got a great podcast. It's
He
called
does.
Hot Boxing.
Yeah, it does.
What
It
a name.
does.
I know.
Yeah, he threw a water bottle at him, this article says. Jeez, what are you thinking? Mike
mean-
freaking Tyson?
I mean, there's people that would offer you money to do what that guy did.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
Got worked.
that is like, that's your worst nightmare.
Yeah.
That is like as a layman, you know what I mean? Like as a normal person. I mean, for Mike Tyson to be standing over you, pissed off, and I mean, like he is
In a phone booth.
bro. He's swinging pretty tight, compact, tight shots. I mean, like he is connecting, and there's a picture of the guy that he's hitting. I mean, like to crack this part, you know, like to draw blood like on that this part of your forehead, you got to crack somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you got to really get after him. And, I mean, not to say, like, Tyson won, but, I mean, just the way that he was hitting this guy, you knew, like, could you imagine what he feels like right now?
No.
Like, today?
Hungover and beat up by Mike
Oh.
Tyson. Cannot be a
Wait,
good
did you
combination.
see the video after he beat him up?
No.
How he was looking?
Like that.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah. When
he
he, yeah,
was-
that.
Yeah. So
His face.
I mean,
No, it's going to be a long day for your boy, man. Not only that,
long flight.
your headline international news.
Absolutely.
Like, everybody, some podcast in Baton Rouge is even talking about you. You know what I mean? Like,
He is already swelling up too.
Yeah.
Like this temple, he needs to go to the doctor.
Worst nightmare.
Something internal is
I
happening.
mean,
I know,
is
right?
that your worst nightmare? I mean,
Absolutely.
To
That's
get
what I'm
beat up
saying.
by Mike
Like,
Tyson?
to get
Maybe.
beat up by Mike Tyson?
Yeah.
Like that's one of the biggest hypotheticals. Like, would you take $1 million to be in the ring with Mike Tyson for one round, and this guy
Right.
was in a phone booth with him for 30 seconds and nearly got his head taken off, and got paid no money and didn't get to fly?
I mean,
And they didn't
Just-
cooperate with the police investigation. It's just so dumb. The
but
whole
Tyson,
thing's so
they
dumb.
they
It might
kept
be a
Tyson,
viral
They
thing.
kept Tyson on the flight, like he's all good because there's pictures of him, like in the Miami airport. He was flying across the country from San Francisco to Miami for an event that he was hosting.
Right, he was there to attend the 420 festival at Golden Gate Park that I was talking about
Yeah.
yesterday on Hippie Hill.
Well, yeah, I mean, like he's one of the biggest names in marijuana.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
That's
he's like
funny that he would
become
have
like
been
one
there.
of the most commercially recognized names with weed out there.
Mm-hmm.
So to see him in San Francisco on 420 makes a ton of sense.
What a test case for marijuana. If you
Yeah.
can calm down Iron Mike
Jeez.
Tyson,
Good
who was,
Lord.
Right.
you know, essentially beating people up for fun when he was 16 years old and just going to jail because he knew he had to, and
Yeah.
then fighting there too,
Yeah.
to carrier pigeons to now marijuana to now beating people up on planes. Like Mike has been through the ringer,
God,
and
he
this has been the
has.
thing that has calmed him down the most.
Yeah.
Until you bully him on a plane,
What if he didn't have marijuana? He could have killed that
he
guy.
would have killed him.
Yeah.
I mean,
He wouldn't have just
10 years
walked
ago
off
he
the
kills
plane.
him.
Yeah.
Snaps him.
Snaps him.
Like-
He's like you said, dude,
Well, I mean,
he
he's
was
still got
still
it in him.
just
Yeah.
like, you don't forget those traits.
No way.
No.
Unbelievable.
I mean, that's a bicycle to him.
want to see him back
you know
in
what
the
I mean?
ring.
Like, just throw it, you know, like jump on.
Thank you for doing this.
Yeah.
What an idiot.
God, what a
Bunch of
scary
idiots.
situation, bro. Make sure you don't forget about City Cafe, their brunch on Sundays. They start that brunch at 10 a.m. and they got daily lunch specials. Check out their lunch specials online at citycafebr.net. Tomorrow, LSU spring football game, and head coach Brian Kelly announced that LSU will be playing inside Tiger Stadium at 1 o'clock. It'll be a offense versus defense scrimmage. The first half will be played with game-like expectations of special teams. The second half will consist of a running clock for two 15-minute quarters. Coach Kelly will lead LSU down Victory Hill for the first time. This will be at 10:45 tomorrow morning. Fans are encouraged to line up through Victory Hill like a regular season game. Also, Devery Henderson will be out there at 1 o'clock on Saturday near Tiger Stadium, the store right there near Mike the Tiger's cage. The one inside Tiger Stadium on the west side. Former standout wide receiver and New Orleans Saint Devery Henderson will be there signing autographs.
That's cool.
And then Kelly said after practice on Thursday that he plans to use his quarterbacks in the spring game. It'll be offense versus defense, and two quarterbacks will be on both teams. Kelly added that the reps will be split evenly between all four quarterbacks. And I'd imagine that this is going to be the thing that everybody is going to look for first, right? I mean, if not, let me know what you're going to watch tomorrow at the spring game. I'd imagine that this is going to be a ton of eyeballs on the quarterback because, this is probably the stiffest competition on the team, right? I mean, I'm trying to think of a competition that would be, maybe the second wide receiver. No competition. It would be Malik. Is it Malik or Jeray Jenkins?
Malik might be wide receiver 1.
Possibly. Is quarterback is that the best competition?
Yeah,
Gotta
it
be,
is.
right?
The best competition. Offensive line, I think, is up there just because there's guys competing essentially for every spot. It's not really set in stone for anybody, but when it comes to the level of competition, it's definitely the quarterback position.
So, from an offensive line standpoint, you think all 5 positions right now are open going into the offseason?
I think so. I don't think anybody's really set their name at what position they're going to go. I think you can kind of guess what guys are going to be out there. They're going to want seniority out there. They're going to get guys with experience. But I just think there's so much unknown and so many new faces in that position group that you can't staple somebody to a position right now.
Surprised to see John Emery getting the nod tomorrow?
Mm-mm. He wants to play. This is his year. Like he can't. He can afford to sit out this game, but he really can't in a sense of like him sitting out all of last year. Nobody's really seen him. Nobody really knows what he's been up to. Nobody knows what he looks like in a live setting. So this is his chance.
And I think he wants to do it for him more than anything, just prove and show that, look, I'm back.
Right.
It's a test case for him to say, look, I missed all of last year. I don't care if I'm a little banged up. I want to play. And that's the biggest statement he can make by playing in the spring game. That doesn't really matter.
Yeah. No, it'll be interesting to see how they use him tomorrow because of his health status and wherever it is. But I'm with you. I think he probably wants to play more than anything just to kind of show maybe even himself where he is, to get back from injury and to be able to overcome that and play and, kind of keep his head straight. And, I really think that John Emery is set to have a really big season, and maybe tomorrow you can get a glimpse of that. You don't want to overwork him or, pound him into the ground, but, I think that there'll be some opportunities to see just how they plan on using him and what the expectation is going to be around him this season, because I think he could be a 3-down back. I think he's a guy that, you really don't have to take off the field. They'll have some guys that are there.
Well, I think that's another reason he wants to play. The competition is pretty fierce at running back. And if you remember last year, didn't Ty Davis-Price play with a little banged up going into the spring game? But he wanted to show, like he dropped a lot of weight, ankle injury, be damned. He went out there and played, and he was kind of like the one that turned the most heads at the spring game last year.
Right. No, and look, I think it makes sense from that standpoint too. I really do. That he would have, that mindset of coming out and trying to prove that this is his team, this is his time. So, look, I think John Emery is definitely a piece you're looking at. The offensive line with Will Campbell, I think will, take everybody's attention tomorrow to see, kind of the strides that he's made in just a short time on campus. And then that defense, that defensive line that they're going up against, man. I think that you'll see just all the numbers, all the depth, all the guys that they have that they can rotate at that position and bring in is really, you'll have a chance to see tomorrow. Just the certain packages that they'll be running on third down and the mismatches of lineups that they can put together. It's a really talented group, and tomorrow you'll get a real good idea of looking at that defense go up against the offense, where you can keep that entire group together, and run them first, second, even third team guys. I think are going to be in the rotation, especially on the outside of that defensive line. So you'll see, just how deep they are. And then, when it comes to the quarterback, I think that tomorrow will not necessarily give an idea of where they are. I think they want this thing to go into the offseason. I think that they're trying to recruit this position as if they want to keep it open in the offseason to keep everybody on the roster. because I think you got to play. You kind of gotta juggle this situation where you don't want to lose any of these guys because you're kind of desperate on the numbers. You don't want to instantly become thin if Nussmeier or Brennan decides, hey, I'm outside looking in on the competition. I don't feel like I got a real shot. I could probably go here and play immediately. And if that was to happen, you're kind of right back into the situation that you were where you were asking, and kind of pleading with Miles Brennan 4 or 5 months ago to come back to LSU. That you need the arm, you need the player, you need the competition, and you need the ability to have some depth there if you lose somebody, which is probable in SEC play. So, Jaden Daniels has already burned his. Miles Brennan, I think, could probably get a waiver of finding some immediate eligibility. And then, everything that we've heard from Nussmeier, after what we kind of said yesterday and then listening to what Brian Kelly said, some people came to me yesterday. In fact, when we were talking about the LSU quarterback yesterday over on Inside New Orleans after the show, one of the producers was like, you think Kelly might be saying that stuff publicly to give Nussmeier the confidence to keep him around, to make sure that he doesn't leave? Maybe so, but I also believe that Brian Kelly, and look, I hadn't known him a long time. I don't know him personally. I hadn't even met him, outside of a couple of press junkets, that he's not playing that stuff in the media. I think that he's had the real conversations behind closed doors about where everybody stands and where this competition lies and what the expectation of the spot is from the head coach. So you don't have to read between the lines of what he's telling the press. I think if he goes out and tells the media that Garrett Nussmeier is playing well and he's done some things that surprised him and he's done some things that really look good, I think he's just kind of telling you how he feels. That's just my feeling. I see that side of it where he might be doing that because I get the argument that he's, kind of got to massage the numbers and make sure that everybody's at least kind of happy going into the offseason or kind of feel like you got a shot. And it feels like that going into the spring game tomorrow, where this is a very much still an open race. Where, Daniels has had some bright spots. Miles Brennan has made some plays. Garrett Nussmeier has stood out at times. But if you're asking for one, I don't know if the coaching staff's ready to commit to one just yet. Maybe they see something and say, hey, look, if we're looking for this, he's the best guy. If you want to do this, that's the best guy. But, I think tomorrow you'll see everybody's skill set. You'll see, what people can do and what people can't do. And, it'll go into the offseason still as, in my opinion, an open competition. But, the way that I look at the quarterback, and Brody and I were talking a little bit about it yesterday, is that you've got Miles Brennan, who is, and has always been described as this just natural, almost artist of throwing the football. Like the guy is got a live arm and has been blessed with a just ability to throw a football. I mean, the cat is just naturally gifted at throwing a football. And ball jumps out of his hands, tight spiral. I mean, you can almost hear the thing zipping at you. It comes with a ton of velocity. Just makes a lot of hard throws look easy. He can't necessarily move, right? Like he's not necessarily going to make a guy miss, step up in the pocket, and make a play.
So that was my question. Like, then why isn't he QB1? Like, if he can throw the football so well,
because
what's the downfall?
The downfall is if you're playing behind a suspect offensive line, which at this point, LSU has more unproven pieces than proven pieces up front. I'm not saying that they can't be good on the offensive line. They just got to prove that they can be.
Right.
And that's a nerve-wracking scenario for a coaching staff that's wondering if you can trust 5 offensive linemen to protect a passer that's standing back there and really can't move. The best way to help an inexperienced and offensive line who's trying to get it is put a quarterback back there that's an athletic enough or a good enough athlete where he can keep the plays alive. Mm-hmm. I mean, it doesn't, it's not always a sack. He can kind of dance out of some pressure and make a play down the field.
Right.
And I think, I don't want to just describe Jaden Daniels that because Jaden Daniels can throw the ball too. I mean, he's got a live arm, but he can also, if the play breaks down, he can keep the play alive and make a play if you need it. And if you were looking at his scouting report, he probably does that a little bit better than he throws it. Mm-hmm. And that's not to box him into that. He does both well. But if you're looking for a stronger suit, he's probably a better runner than a passer right now, right? And then Nussmeier does both pretty good.
So he has it all, basically.
To me, that's why, in my opinion, Nussmeier's the guy. Like, I really believe that Nussmeier is going to win the quarterback competition at some point. Maybe they've told Brennan, if you come back, you'll start. And they got to start him against Florida State. Maybe they do that. I don't know. I don't know if that's happened. I've got no idea. I don't even know if Brian Kelly would even commit to something like that. But I do know that his roster and his personnel was in a hell of a bind when he got Miles Brennan back. And Miles Brennan was at a point mentally, it seemed like, where he was ready to go. And he was okay with leaving.
Yeah, it did seem like that.
So to get him back, maybe they just recruited their ass off and they got him back. Or maybe they said, look, come back, man, and you're the starter game 1. But then after that, it's open for competition.
That would suck for him.
Which part?
That he came back and would start game 1 and then maybe not start again.
Yeah, but you got to know that as a competitor.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to know that. And he knows Garrett Nussmeier. Mm-hmm. He didn't know that Jaden Daniels was going to be a part of the mix. But I got to imagine that Kelly was probably pretty upfront with him saying, look, if we find a quarterback in the transfer portal that we think is good enough to play here, we're going to get him.
Yeah.
I mean, and you can't argue that. I mean, if it's Brian Kelly's job to win football games and make sure that you don't run out of players, you got to take good players.
Yeah.
And you specifically got to take good players at meaningful positions like quarterback. So, I mean.
Do you want this much kind of curiosity around the position? Because it feels like there's, especially with the new coaching staff, new offense, all of the things that are going into it, then you have the incumbent, quote unquote, with Miles Brennan, who's been here the longest, obviously probably a fan favorite. Then you have a transfer, Jaden Daniels. Then you have Garrett Nussmeier into the mix. It just feels like it's all very murky, and it feels a little old school LSU in terms of who's your quarterback.
Well, I think it's a great first test to see what you got in Brian Kelly, because you've seen this before in Baton Rouge. You've seen quarterback competitions where you've got 3 viable candidates that can win you games. All 3 of these guys, if they take a snap next year, I feel confident that you can win the game. I don't think that they'll cost you the game. But if there's a clear-cut guy, they need a leader and a coach to step up and find out who it is, name that guy, and then build their offense around that skill set, or at least the majority of the offense to fit that quarterback scheme. And the way that they handle it, to me, is going to be a sign and a test. Not a test, but, I mean, you'll get a good measuring stick of who Brian Kelly is. Because we've seen Les Miles do this. We've seen Ed Ogeron do this. We've seen, you can go back to Curly Hallman and Mike Archer do this.
Nick Saban did it.
Sure, Nick Saban did it. So you've got reference points, and you'll get an idea of how Brian Kelly can not just communicate with his team, but how he makes decisions, how he gets to that point, how all of this process works. Because, I think Brian Kelly was brought in to organize the entire football program, but it was also to make clear-cut, hard decisions like this on, look, you got a 3-quarterback race that's highly competitive. All 3 guys can play, but at some point you got to make the call, and it's your evaluation that's going to be, kind of the one that pulls the trigger here. And, you're still in evaluation mode. So we'll see.
Because isn't there a
But I don't think that this is a problem. This is not a problem. This is not a problem.
It's not a problem until you start jockeying into the regular season of who's playing, and like
Sure.
you start seeing people come in and out. And there's nothing more frustrating than not having a quarterback, because there's a world where Miles Brennan starts, Jaden Daniels has a package, and Garrett Nussmeier's on the bench. If the package doesn't work, you bring in Nussmeier. Then kind of where are you? Because Miles can't move. That's the mobility issue. But then you can bring Jaden Daniels, who can do kind of both, and so you could either have some sort of 2-quarterback system with Jaden Daniels and Miles Brennan, which placates to the fan base. You have Miles Brennan start, then you get the mobility with Jaden Daniels, and you didn't feel like you wasted anything in the transfer portal. But that leaves Nussmeier into the wind. But if it doesn't work, then you can always bring in Nussmeier. It just feels like you're kind of spinning for no reason,
Dwayne Official says Nuss is the best quarterback out there, hands down. Jeff and Kenner says, I find it funny of those saying that Nussmeier is the best when his playing time was riddled with inconsistency and almost wildness. Donnie T says, Brennan's been there long enough to where he can be the offensive coordinator on the field. If the line's not physical enough, he can make it work. Hunter Fournette says he's over the whole mobile quarterback. I'd rather a slower but more accurate passer. You better have a good offensive line, Hunter, if you want to run that. Donnie T, a physical running game can help a lot. It could if that offensive line turns out to be well. That'll take a lot of pressure off of the quarterback spot. Brian Burgess says, Nusk asking a question mark. You don't think that Daniels will beat him out? I do not. I think that Garrett Nussmeier, and look, I don't know a ton about Jaden Daniels. Probably not even enough to make a wise choice on him being the guy. But, of what I know of Nuss and just the limited amount of reps that I've seen of Daniels, I just kind of think that when it's all said and done, Nuss is the better quarterback. I do think that it's tough to judge him on last season. Talking about Nussmeier, tough to judge anybody really on last season, but especially from an offensive standpoint, the more you learn about just how to whack the coordinator, the communication to the field. I mean, everything, the game planning was just so dysfunctional last year. And to have Nussmeier in there as a freshman, starting, playing, whatever it was, coming in, rotating, not really knowing what his role was going to be every week, and for him to get in there and just try and play and make plays. You saw some things you didn't like, but I mean, come on. He's a freshman playing in the SEC with a dysfunctional coaching staff that knew that they were getting fired. I mean, it's about as bad of a situation, and I'm not trying to make an excuse for Nussmeier, but let's really start the evaluation clock on him now, right? Like, I mean, you've seen what you've seen. You've seen some of the physical attributes that he has, but, I mean, all of that gunslinger, decision-making, I mean, he had nobody telling him, hey, if this happens here, then you need to go to this read. I mean, he was just kind of going out there and playing Madden as the starting quarterback. So I do think that we need to, if we're gonna crucify Nussmeier off of last year's performance for this season's quarterback competition, well, I mean, I think that that's something personal that you have against Nussmeier. I mean, Mike Denbrock, Brian Kelly, Frank Wilson, Cortez Hankton, those guys making the evaluations of where they are now is what I'm interested in.
I think it's like Lloyd said, it's the fan base that wants Brennan, right? I mean, they're protective of him.
I don't know if I pick up that. Do you think Brennan, I'm sorry, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I was thinking that you were saying Nussmeier.
No, yeah, the jury's still out on
I think
Nussmeier
that's
from
a
the
lot
fan
of it.
perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of it is Miles Brennan has been such a what if,
Yeah.
and he's been here, and the fact that he came back, releases he's all LSU, so he's such a fan favorite,
Right.
and it's hard not to root for him. He has to catch one break eventually.
Yes.
It's been such a
I know.
tumultuous
Yes.
tenure, which has lasted forever.
I know.
But he's never really gotten to be on the right side of history, so people want to root for a good story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he's talented.
No, and look, Brennan, you
It would be
pull,
awesome.
You pull for Brennan because Brennan is a lot like the guy we talked to yesterday in Landon Ibieta, who, I mean, he grew up wanting to play football at LSU. I I mean, Ibieta said, I came into the stadium every week. It would affect my mood, whether or not LSU won or lost. It would affect his weekend. I mean, Miles Brennan, when he was growing up, said out loud, I want to be the LSU quarterback. And I mean, think about if that's your dream and you're Miles Brennan. I mean, you're right there.
No.
I mean, it's
And you've
right
tasted
there.
the ice cream.
Yeah, you've actually kind of you've bitten off a little bit of it. You tasted it. You've seen that you can do it. You've been successful at it. You've set records in 3-game stretches of performances. I mean, you've played it at a high level, but just, I mean, the crazy stuff that's happened to you to keep you off the field is out of Hollywood. I mean, it's like a movie script.
It is.
You couldn't write. If it was in a movie, you wouldn't believe it. Tripping and while carrying tackling your fishing gear, your rod and reel, and you go down and break your arm, and then you don't tell anybody. Then you're like, wait, what happened? Or you throw for 400 yards in a game, and you have an injury that nobody's even heard of before. It's just it's stuff out of a movie, but it's still not believable if it was in a movie. It's just a wild script.
It's wild.
And then if he comes back and starts and does well for LSU and wins 10 games, that would be the ultimate bow on a really. And then he gets to go to the NFL and put up, even if he's a backup, that would still be a success. But for him to be able to come to LSU and put together one final season and win, he could come back, which is even wilder. It's just he's got such an unwritten story, but it feels like a full book.
It does.
I hope that for him. I hope that happens.
So you'll see a lot of the competition tomorrow. It'll be interesting conversation on Monday of what you see and kind of where this competition goes into the offseason after we're able to judge it on some evaluation tomorrow inside the spring game. We got the poll question up, compliments of our friends over at Southern Eye Center of Baton Rouge. Check it out there at Southern Eye Center, located on Jefferson Highway. And as we remind you all the time, if you go in and mention the Jordy Culotta Show, they'll take 15% off of their great sunglass selection over there at Southern Eye Center. Southern Eye Center located on Jefferson Highway. Spring is turning into summer. Summer will be here. If you need some new shades, stop in and check out Southern Eye Center on Jefferson Highway. Mention the Jordy Culotta Show, and they'll take a discount off for that code over at Southern Eye Center. And the poll question's up, so make sure you vote on the poll question.
Patrick Dorsey has a good comment. If you have 3 QBs, why recruit Daniels and not play him? Because if you don't start him, he is stuck. And I that's kind of how I feel too. Why recruit him?
Because if Miles Brennan and or Garrett Nussmeier snaps an ankle, you're now one play away from looking at Walker Howard, and that's the worst case scenario. So you got to get numbers. You got to get depth. And ideally, you want 3 quarterbacks that you can trust. Before you get to your true freshman, which LSU has done countless times and said, win the game, save the program, ruin your career. I mean, that's not how it's supposed to go, and they have to be prepared for a scenario that if somebody gets hurt, if somebody goes down, that they've got to have enough insulation and enough filter before they get to Walker Howard. I mean, that's just, it's not protect Howard at all cost. It's just protect the program at all cost, and don't put a true freshman out there and sacrifice the future for screwing up the present. Right? I mean, it's a lose-lose scenario if you don't have depth at quarterback. Because if you play in the SEC, which LSU does, you play in the SEC West, I mean, it's minor league NFL, and at some point,
good player, right?
Who?
Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, they're all 3 can play. That's what I said. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, all 3 of them can win you games. All 3 of these guys can win. They've shown it. They've proven it. They've done it at the highest level, and I mean, it's a true competition. It's the best competition on the field right now. It's the stiffest competition on the LSU practice field right now is at quarterback. And that's going to bleed over into the summer. It's going to, follow over into fall camp, and somebody's going to have to make a choice. But they all 3 can play. And I think, they're all, 2 of them are going to be pissed off, but they're all probably going to get an opportunity at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just kind of the way. It's just kind of the way it goes. You know what I mean? You get to October, November of an SEC schedule, and you're still healthy and upright and playing at that position, you're a warrior.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, like that's a hell of a check on the resume. I mean, you know, I guarantee you at the NFL Combine, NFL scouts look at the amount of games played from people in the SEC. And if you go through a season where you're a big time player, you're a quarterback at an SEC school, and you take nearly every snap and you play every game, that's a hell of a credential on your resume.
Right.
So, you know, I mean, at some point, they're going to need another guy. And at some point, they may need two.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Brian Kelly's tasked with. You gotta make sure that the program doesn't get to a true freshman quarterback against Mississippi State in September, and you're looking at the rest of your schedule saying, what do you do? I don't know, Coach. There's not free agency.
Mm-hmm.
We can't make a trade. You know, I mean, that's why we were telling you back in the summertime we should have taken Jaden Daniels from Arizona State.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that's why you do it.
Okay.
Remember, Daily, we're brought to you by RMB Builders, RMB-Builders. Online, get in touch with Rhett Bourgeois and the crew. Custom design home. If you're looking for a remodel, if you're looking for any type of handiwork done around the house, get in touch with RMB Builders. Rhett Bourgeois and his crew, rmb-builders.com. rmb-builders.com is where you find them online. Come back with us. We will talk New Orleans Pelicans. We'll talk a little draft strategy, but I'm telling you, it's all Pelicans down in the city right now as Brooke Kirchhofer from WWL TV, she's a sports anchor down there, covers the Pelicans, is going to join us next as we'll talk about what's going on in the city and what is the buzz around tonight and tip-off between Phoenix and New Orleans now that Devin Booker has been ruled out. Game 3. We'll get some reports coming up next here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Southern Eye Centers, where their passion is caring for eyes. It's what they do. They've been doing it for 40 years. They've been offering the Capital Region a friendly, helpful environment with the highest level of personal care to manage your eye health and vision needs. Stop in and see their brand new office on Jefferson Highway today, where you can find them at 6859 Jefferson Highway. They also are the daily poll sponsor on the Culotta Show. And remember, if you go into Southern Eye Center of Baton Rouge and you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, you will receive 25% off of their fantastic sunglasses selection over at Southern Eye Center. Check out Dr. Ann Shaw and Southern Eye Center, the daily poll sponsor of the Jordy Culotta Show. All right, personal testimony from my trip over to Johnson Spillers. Shout out to my friend Dr. Chad Spillers for taking care of me, man. I had to have my front tooth, a tooth implanted on my front tooth, and it was a hell of an ordeal, but Dr. Spillers and the crew from Johnson Spillers made it as easy and seamless as possible to work with and have taken the final product, and it is absolutely beautiful. Learn more online at johnsonspillers.com. Whether you're looking for Botox or you need help in any type of dentistry, whether it is dentures, night guards, if you're looking for Invisalign, if you're interested in implant dentistry like I got, you can get in touch with Johnson Spillers. Online, johnsonspillers.com. 2 locations, one in Gonzales, one in Baton Rouge. Easiest way to get them, online at johnsonspillers.com. City Cafe online at citycafebr.net, where good friends meet. Great food and even better service. Located in the shopping center behind Rite Aid on the corner of George O'Neill and O'Neill Lane. They cater for parties, big and small. Sundays, they serve a fantastic brunch that starts at 10 a.m. They have daily lunch specials. And remember, you can look at everything online at citycafebr.net. We'll give a shout-out to Squeaky Miranda, Cody Miranda, Dirk and the crew, everybody over at City Cafe for their support here at the Jordy Culotta Show. Online, citycafebr.net. Shout-out to Tom Granning from everybody over here at FM Digital Media, as he is our fuel sponsor. Whether it's fuel cards or snacks, he's keeping us going every day at FM Digital Media. If you're out on Highway 61, make sure and stop in and see him over at Go Mart. It is located in Natchez, Mississippi. It is our favorite convenience store, and it's for our guy Tom Granning, who supports us every day over here at FM Digital Media. Redstick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Redstick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
Okay.
All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven powered by Go Chevrolet. We appreciate our friends. Remember, they're online at GEAUXChevrolet.com. Check them out there. Used car lot over here in Baton Rouge at Go Express Auto Sales. Find them there on Sherwood Forest and Florida Boulevard, GEAUXChevrolet.com. All right, as we said, we were down in the city yesterday. You can feel the buzz down there, and it is all around the Zurich Classic, which started yesterday, day one of the Zurich. Pelicans and the Suns tonight, game 3. Devin Booker ruled out for the Suns 2 to 3 weeks. And then French Quarter Fest also going on if you're looking for some fun outside of some sports. Covering sports for New Orleans over at WWL is Brooke Kirchhofer, who is joining us now here on the Jordy Culotta Show to give us a little bit of an idea of the buzz in the city. Brooke, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. I was down there yesterday in New Orleans, but obviously you're living down there and covering the Pelicans. Tell me the feel in the city. It is very much, it feels almost like NFL playoff time down there with the Pelicans and Suns tonight.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to describe it. I actually live a couple streets over from Magazine, and so just walking the streets the last few days, all I can hear is people talking about the Pelicans and are you finding tickets, things like that. And usually when you're walking around, it's conversations a little bit everywhere in New Orleans, but this is the first time that I've actually walked around and I can hear Pelicans in almost every conversation. And I visited the Zurich yesterday on my off day, and everybody was talking about the Pelicans there too. It's really exciting in a town that obviously, as we all know, the Saints dominate New Orleans, and for the Pelicans to be up in that same conversation and people are just as excited. And to be honest, if the Smoothie King Center sounds anything like the Superdome does on Sundays, it's going to be exciting tomorrow or tonight, I guess. Yeah,
it's going to be rocking tonight for sure inside the Smoothie King Center. But yeah, look, it's draft time too right now with the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, usually it's hard to steal the headlines from the Saints in that town, especially during draft week or anything that's relevant to football. And the Pelicans are front page news right now. What was your biggest takeaway after Game 2? A lot of people came out of Game 2 in Phoenix thinking that, look, they got a series now. There's that old cliche in sports that says a series doesn't start until the road team wins a game. And the Pelicans went into Phoenix and come home tied one game apiece. Now the storyline of Devin Booker. How do you feel about this series going into tonight?
I mean, if you're a Pelicans fan, you have to feel good after what you saw in Game 2. And honestly, when they cut the lead to 6 in Game 1, people should have been turning their heads looking at this Pelicans team that, hey, this team can compete. I understand the offense of this Suns team is just incredible going into the postseason, number 1 in the NBA. But now that you don't have Devin Booker, I understand you still have Chris Paul, who can go off like he did in Game 1, putting up 30. They have Aiden, who's still healthy. Bridges still healthy. Any of those guys can have a breakout game. But when you have Devin Booker out of the game, it's a huge difference. And this Pelicans team has shown with Larry Nance Jr. stepping up after having surgery. We've kind of seen him come into this role coming off the bench as a guy who can come in and be that life plug and spark off the bench for the Pelicans. I think if you're a fan, you should be excited that they can possibly take game 3 and 4 with this home court advantage.
Brooke, from Willie Green's standpoint, I thought that he was the most impressive piece of personnel for the Pelicans in between games 1 and 2. The adjustments that he made as a first-year coach in the playoffs on that stage was very refreshing for the future of what the Pelicans have in that position. Covering the Pelicans all season, what have you seen from Willie Green that really it looks like he just relates so well with his team?
Yeah, he's a player's coach. I think we can all see that when TNT did that little cutaway after I believe it was in the fourth quarter of game 1 when he had that speech that everybody was talking about on social media. We don't typically see that side of him. He's more of a calm demeanor guy, but as you just mentioned, I mean, the advantage you have with Willie Green as your coach specifically in this series, he's a guy that knows Monty Williams, having coached with him. He knows Chris Paul, having played with him and coached against him. So he's able to make these adjustments in games, listening and watching them also make adjustments. He's able to play off of it, but it's a little bit of a blessing and a curse, right? Because as Willie Green is making adjustments to what Monty Williams is doing in the game, so too is Monty Williams, because he also knows Willie Green and the way he likes to play in games.
From the Zion angle, it's almost gotten to a point where it's over-talked at this point. What is the expectation for Zion in this series from your point of view?
So far, I think he's out indefinitely, and we haven't seen Willie Green or any of the players speak otherwise when asked about it. They get asked about it just about every day, but seeing Zion while we're doing these interviews, right, we see him behind going 5-on-5 now. He's doing these 360 dunks. And I have to agree with some of these talking heads that are watching him, you know, from a national perspective, and they're looking at that and saying, if he's able to do these things, why isn't he playing in games? I'm not sure health-wise how you would define a 360 dunk or him being able to go 5-on-5, why you wouldn't play him. My only thing would be, can he handle 15 minutes a game? And if he can give that to you, I don't see why that's not of value and why you wouldn't want to put him in these type of games if you do somehow make it past the Suns into the next round, right?
Absolutely. And do you think if Willie Green could have had final say that Zion would be playing right now?
I think no, honestly, I don't. I think Willie Green has been here before. He's had a season-ending injury. He knows from when he played. I think he understands that long-term they'd rather have Zion Williamson, and they believe right now, the Pelicans believe they have the pieces to be able to win these playoff games. So I don't think if Willie Green had his say that Zion would be playing right now, because I think from what Willie Green has been talking to us, he still thinks that Zion is not at 100% and is not able to come in and contribute yet from what he's told us.
It'll be interesting to see how they handle Zion if they can get past Phoenix, because it's getting to a point where it's boiling. Where something has to happen, something from a definitive standpoint has to be said on Zion from the Pelicans' point of view. I did mention that it's draft time, and Sean Payton was actually speaking earlier this week at the Pro-Am up at the Zurich and was giving a little bit of draft advice to first-year head coach and Dennis Allen. Where do you think they go with those 2 first-round picks? They've got a couple of areas of need. What do you think they do with those 2 first-rounders?
So we actually had a chance to talk with Sean Payton. We usually interview him at the Zurich for the Celebrity Shootout. Obviously, this was the first year us interviewing him not as the Saints head coach. And one of the things he said is when you've got these 2 picks in round 1, you have to imagine that the Saints, if they are wanting a quarterback, they're thinking about bundling those 2 and moving up. I would have to agree with him that I think they're at least exploring that. We've seen some of the quarterbacks that they've invited in for meetings. I think they just interviewed Matt Corral, I believe, but they've talked with guys like Kenny Pickett and things like that in the draft. I think they're exploring that. But again, it wouldn't surprise me if the Saints went ahead and drafted a lineman and a wide receiver in the first round. I mean, we've seen them do that in the past. We all were kind of shocked last year seeing them draft a defensive lineman out of Houston, and the year before that, Cesar Ruiz. So they are definitely not fan-friendly picks usually in the draft, the Saints, but I think they're truly going to go after team needs. And I also think they believe they can get their wide receiver in the second round. So We've seen them do that with Michael Thomas in the past. Remember, he was a second-round pick, not a first-rounder. So I think they are going to go into this draft knowing what their team needs are. And again, do not be surprised if you see them take a tackle with one of these first-round picks.
Do you think they signed Tyrann Mathieu and or Jarvis Landry?
I would lean more towards Jarvis Landry just because they just started having meetings. This Tyrann Mathieu thing has really been drawn out. I think if they wanted to sign him, they would have already done it already. I think typically you don't see teams just like drag this process out. I understand if they're still trying to meet somewhere in the middle as far as money. So maybe after the draft, if they can come to an agreement. I know Tyrann Mathieu would be interested in coming home and playing for the black and gold, but at the end of the day, I haven't typically seen an NFL team wait this long to sign a player, that they've already done kind of the vetting process. They know who he is, they know what he wants and things like that, and they still haven't made any movement on a player like him.
Brooke Kirchhofer from WWL TV giving us some insight on the city today as the Pelicans get ready for Game 3 tonight. The Zurich Classic moves into day 2, and it is French Quarter Fest happening down in the city as well. And the Saints will be on the clock in just under a week with the draft coming up next week. So good stuff. Thank you, Brooke. Enjoy the weekend.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You got it. There she is, Brooke Kirchhofer, checking in from New Orleans this morning. Give us some insight there. That conversation brought to you by our friends over at Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. Remember our friends over at Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. You can get in touch with them if you need anything from a plumbing standpoint. They've got industrial carpenters on staff. So if you're looking to do that remodel in the office, they can help you out with the remodel. They can also help you out with the plumbing as well. Get in touch with Barker Brothers by just dialing them up at 225-776-2431, 225-776-2431 to get in touch with Jude Barker over at Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. If you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, you save 15%. Save 15% just by mentioning the Jordy Culotta Show here when you get in touch with Barker Brothers Plumbing. Remember, they are number one in a number two business. 225-776-2431 is the phone number. When we come back, Jordan Faircloth has made it to a special runoff, and we will talk to him next about what is going on. We'll also talk to him about the LSU baseball team. Last night, Mikhail Hilliard earned his 4th victory of the season to stay undefeated as LSU got a much-needed SEC win with a 5-3 win over Missouri. Jacob Berry, 2 home runs, his 11th and 12th on the season to give the Tigers the 5-3 win last night in Game 1. We will talk to Jordan Faircloth as he is coming down the political stretch here in a special runoff, and we'll also get a little baseball insight from him next here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Redstick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Redstick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz. Shout out to Tom Granning from everybody over here at FM Digital Media, as he is our fuel sponsor. Whether it's fuel cards or snacks, he's keeping us going every day at FM Digital Media. If you're out on Highway 61, make sure and stop in and see him over at Go Mart. That is located in Natchez, Mississippi. It is our favorite convenience store, and it's for our guy Tom Granning, who supports us every day over here at FM Digital Media.
Hey y'all, it's Mikey from Mic'd Up. Catch us live every Monday and Wednesday, 11 to 1. Talk gambling, talk sports, have a ton of guests in here, get a little perspective from the athlete side of it. We got Lloyd in the house, Jay Mitch is in here a lot of the time. It's a fun show, great show. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends. If you don't like it, it's fine. Make fun of us. It's okay. Just get us out there. Share us out there. We having fun. We want to share our fun with you. Like I said, Mic'd Up, brought to you by Sterling Automotive. Every Monday through Wednesday, 11 to 1. Catch us live on YouTube, baby. See y'all.
Has been serving your eyes for over 40 years in the capital region. They offer friendly service in a helpful environment with the highest level of personal care to manage your eye health and vision needs. If you want more information, log online to southerneyecenters.com. That is southerneyecenters.com. Stop in and check out their beautiful office located on Jefferson Highway right here in the capital city. And remember, each time you walk in there and you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, Dr. Ann Shaw and Southern Eye Centers will take 25% off of their fantastic selection of sunglasses. All you got to do is mention the Jordy Culotta Show. Check them out. southerneyecenters.com and located at 6859 Jefferson Highway. All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Ghost Chevrolet. Appreciate Brooke Kirchhofer for stopping in and giving us some insight to the Pelicans and Saints as it is draft time and strategy in Game 3 tonight. It is also political season as you got out and voted a couple of weeks back. We talked to Jordan Faircloth, our friend who came through here, who was running for district court judge,
Yep.
and is now in a special runoff with voting to take place a week from tomorrow. So a week from Saturday, polls will be open for the special runoff that will feature Jordan Faircloth for district court judge, and he's back with us, our ancient athlete buddy, former LSU baseball standout, and now, as we said, coming down here with a runoff in the judge race here locally. How are you, buddy? Good morning.
I'm good, man. It's 7-8 more days in the campaign season, so it's full speed ahead, fast and furious, and give it a hell until election night.
How has this process been? I can see it in your demeanor. It is the finish line is close.
It's like anything else. I mean, you got to find ways to keep the momentum, keep the energy on the days where you'd rather just go play 18 holes of golf,
sure,
or watch television. You got to remind yourself, no, everything counts, everything matters.
Great place to get business done.
That
counts as working.
Maybe after the election.
There you go.
But,
so what are you doing now that could be different than the first time, or is it just a continuation of what was going on the first time?
It's a lot of continuation, and I know we spoke last time about knocking on doors and all the stuff, touching as many people as you can, whether it's radio, social media, phone calls, events, crawfish boils, whatever. Any place, any time where there's a group of people, potential voters, you got to show up, you got to work the room, you got to talk to them, campaign, ask for their vote, tell them why. And I thought initially maybe after the special election that I wouldn't have to knock on as many doors, but that's not the case.
Sure.
Just because I've been told and I've seen how much it actually helps. So it's those days where, hey, I don't have an event to go to. It's what neighborhood are we hitting today?
Wow.
Let's go knock on some doors and, see what happens.
I gotta imagine you have a great team, huh?
Yes. And, I'd be remiss, and it all starts with numero uno, my wife, because she's been a rock star this entire process. And, before I made the decision, it was one of those, hey, if you're not in, if we're not going to do this as a team, we're not going to do it. Because I've been told by other folks who ran for office that, if your significant other isn't on board, just don't even do it. And gosh, she's been awesome. And my campaign guy, Lionel and London, they've been awesome too. I mean, it's just like anything else. It takes a team, takes a support, family, friends, guys that you learn, guys that maybe were buddies that were come through and like, dang, that dude he's a real one, as they say, because he does this, that, and the other. So, this, for example, folks, buddies come through. Hey, how can I help you? Invite me to this, introduce me to this person. So everything has mattered and everything's helped.
A week from tomorrow, it is voting time. Is there early voting in it?
Early voting. I'll give a little spiel background because I've learned that during this special election, the only people that know about it are the people running, the family members,
Right.
and maybe some close friends.
The real ones.
I have friends like, wait, when's that election again? Like, don't worry, you're not hurting my feelings. But
Check your email.
Right. Good luck in the governor race. I'm
So
running
it's
for
just-
judge. You dickhead.
Heck.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it was like, so the election's this fall, right? I'm like, no, dude.
President? What?
November?
We got plenty of time. No.
What are taxes?
Early voting is today and tomorrow. The three main locations are City Hall downtown, the fire station on Coursey, the Archives building on Essen, and that's today and tomorrow, 8:30 to 6. And then next Saturday, April 30th, is actual election day, which is, you can go on your voter portal on the Secretary of State's website and find out where you vote. But that's 7 to 8 p.m. And by 10 p.m. we'll know the results one way or the other. We had 13,000 people show up the first time, which is 10% of the voting district. It's probably gonna be less this time. So it's one of those, every vote really counts. And I don't want to inflect a somber tone on a Friday and the good vibes we have with all the sports stuff going on, but I can't overstate how important this election is. Since I've been here the last time, you look at all the violent crime issues we've had. A little girl gets shot in her house, sleeping, 3-year-old. That could have been any of our kids. Perkins Row, what happened over there, the Facebook Live stuff, and that's just the things that we know about.
Somebody got shot and killed right outside of
Yeah,
here.
we
And
talk about this every day.
it's the judiciary obviously can't solve the problem by ourselves. It's a team effort, but there are things the judiciary can do absolutely to help the problem and to infect some leadership, through the other players who can try to get this issue under control.
Yesterday, John Stefanski sat in that same chair, the district representative out of District 42 up at the House of Representatives. You can feel the passion. Whether you are on the side of the political line or against him, you can at least recognize the passion that Stefanski had in defending and policy making for our state. You feel the same thing from Faircloth when he sits in the same seat. Whether you vote for him or against him, at least you have people up there that care, right? I mean, the guy wants to make a difference in a city that needs some difference makers. And Jordan Faircloth, the vote is next Saturday. Early voting, as he explained, over the next couple of days. If you want to get that done and can't get out to the polls a week from Saturday, but make sure you do it, man, because every vote counts. And Jordan Faircloth, as he knows, he has our vote. He's our friend. But I know that everybody out there doesn't know him personally and are friends with him. But you can hear the passion and just the will that he has to make change in our city. So go out there and vote. What do you think about Mikhail Hilliard? Because last night I think that they have found an opening night guy in the SEC. And look, they're probably past the midway point, and time is probably past a little bit. But it's good to see Hilliard having the year he is.
Love it. A guy that is not the prototypical Friday night starter. He's not the Anthony Ronaldo, 6'7", coming in throwing 95 miles an hour, first round draft pick. He's maybe a draft pick who has an awesome curveball, mixes and matches, location, and the success is obvious. But the stability that he's provided, and I think everybody pulls for him. The unfortunate situation with his dad passing, but you need somebody that can just be the guy that look dependable. We can trust him. The guys playing behind him. Look, he's going to fill up the strike zone. He's going to strike out guys when he needs to, but we're going to be ready. We're going to make plays behind him. We're not going to be sitting there because he's going to walk the house and we don't know what we're going to get. You know what you're going to get. Yeah. He's going to throw strikes. He's going to compete. He's going to get guys out. He's going to give you a shot every time out. And with the offense that LSU has and the potential that we have every night, that's what you want.
Jacob Berry hits 2 home runs last night. Again, it turns out to be the difference in a 5-3 win. Does the second. We talked to his dad yesterday, and he was talking about kind of bringing up a switch hitter. Do you remember the best switch hitter you ever faced, and how crazy is it to see the success that he has switch hitting at this level?
Gosh, I'd have to go into the old memory bank. Nothing pops out. I'm sure something will immediately. Yeah. But it's got to be difficult. It's hard enough to hit from one side of the plate in major college baseball. Heck, it's hard enough to hit from one side of the plate in high school baseball.
I know.
But to do it from both sides and as well as he does it, it takes a special person, special commitment, because it's not just, hey, I got my cuts in today, I'm done. No, you're only halfway done. I got to go to the other side and do the same thing. It's like, what?
Right.
So the time commitment, it just takes a special person, and it's going to bug me till I think of somebody, a switch hitter who.
You rarely see it.
You rarely see it, and I'm sure a buddy of mine will text me like, "Dude, I was a switch hitter. You remember me?" Like, "Hey, you weren't that good. That's why I didn't
Appreciate it. Yeah, right.
You shouldn't have been.
Same one that was telling me I was getting your governor vote. Yeah, right. So I see you're rocking the Pelican socks.
Yes.
I was down in New Orleans yesterday. You can feel the buzz around the city, man. There was a lot of contagious energy down there around pulling for New Orleans right now. How do you feel about Game 3 tonight?
Look, I'm feeling good, especially with Mr. Booker not being available. And you hear, oh, well, there's an asterisk, or it's not the same team if Booker's not there. No, them's the breaks, baby.
That's basketball.
You play who shows up.
Right.
We have a guy who's been on the sideline the entire year, and you don't hear us crying. Yeah. Zion hadn't played yet, or hadn't played recently. So I like our chances to say they're going to win the series. Anytime Chris Paul's on the other side, the leadership that he brings to a team, and he just pushes guys across the finish line, who knows? And their coach, Monty Williams, is incredible in his own right. But I like the spot the Pelicans are in, and if they don't win the series, heck, they've done a lot more than people thought.
Taking some strides for sure. Help our city make a stride here. Get out and vote. Next 3 days, early voting is available, and then a week from tomorrow, the polls are open for the special runoff. District Judge will feature Jordan Faircloth on the voting docket. So make sure you get out there and cast your vote a week from today, or if you can early enroll or enroll early for voting, it'll be over the next couple of days. Good luck, man.
I appreciate it. I appreciate all y'all.
Absolutely. Jordan Faircloth stopping in this morning. That conversation brought to you by Edward Jones, Daniel Newman. Remember our friend Daniel Newman over at Edward Jones. Let him help you out today. 225-261-8262 is the phone number. An experienced financial advisor. He's demonstrated a history of working with financial industries and service industries over the past. Let him help you out today. He has handled our finances and given us great return, but more than that, easy to work with, easy to communicate with, easy to keep up with the data and the information, everything that's coming through with your money. Daniel Newman is making your money work for you. Get in touch with him today, 225-261-8262, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. daniel.newman@edwardjones.com is the email address. We'll be back with more of the Jordy Culotta Show. Cooking Couple is here. Iverstein's Food is here. Compliments of our friend Galen Iverstein over at Iverstein's every Friday. We're cooking it up here with the Cooking Couple. Make sure you're following them on FM Food as they're on social media. We'll be back with Nathan Velasquez will be here in a couple of minutes. We'll be eating here before we get out of here, celebrating this Friday. Coming down the stretch, it's game day. Flock up. We'll be back with more of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
Foodie Friday, they got a little trick up their sleeve. They're going to use our Primal blend and a Bolognese sauce. And what the Primal blend is, it's going to be our grass-fed beef with 30% of organ meat. So in this blend, we're going to have liver in there, and that's going to give you some really great micronutrients in your diet. I know not everybody loves the taste of liver, but this is a great way to hide it in your diet and kind of get it in there, because you're really not going to notice it in a sauce that is heavy in like tomato and high acid. So give this a try in your chilies, your burger blends, and your spaghetti sauce. So in this week's Foodie Friday, they got a little trick up their sleeve. They're going to use our Primal blend and a Bolognese sauce. And what the Primal blend is, it's going to be our grass-fed beef with 30% of organ meat. So in this blend, we're going to have liver in there, and that's going to give you some really great micronutrients in your diet. I know not everybody loves the taste of liver, but this is a great way to hide it in your diet and kind of get it in there, because you're really not going to notice it in a sauce that is heavy in like tomato and high acid. So give this a try in your chilies, your burger blends, and your spaghetti sauce.
All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Remember to check our friends out online at GEAUXChevrolet.com. And daily, we're brought to you by Steel Henry Roofing, or over at Hargrove Roofing. Steel Henry.
Soon to be Steel Henry
That's
Roofing.
right. After this advertising campaign. Steel Henry can handle your roof today. Remember, 318-229-7266. 318-229-7266. He'll hop up on your roof today for a free inspection. Let you know if you need to work with an insurance company. He's got the experience of working with all of them. Get in touch with him today, 318-229-7266. Store that number into your contact list. Put that under your,
Spam the hell out of
your
it.
roofing
call him this
contact.
weekend. He's going to be at a wedding with me, so keep calling.
Hell yes.
The country
Blow him
club.
up. Blow him up.
Baton Rouge Country Club.
That's
See if
where
I
y'all
can
be?
tear it apart.
Oh, wow.
You will.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I'm
You're
not
gonna
allowed
blow
there.
their minds
no,
up in there.
No way I'm supposed to be there.
Nathan Velasquez is up in New York City. He is our guy, the 5-Minute Critic. Remember, he's here every week. Make sure you're following Nathan on all his social media. Give him a follow on his YouTube channel. He's got weekly movie reviews up, but I feel like this week is all going to be centered around Netflix, because what in the hell is going on over at Netflix is they're losing subs. They got futures coming out where they're starting to mess with people's passwords. Nathan, good morning. How are you?
It's good. It's good. It's going well. It's not good. This has been a bad week for Netflix. Really bad.
Crazy
So they
bad.
announced they announced their first quarter, how it went. And normally Netflix, they don't always do incredibly well in growth, but there's always growth. And I mean, it's not just a plateau here. This is like a nosedive. They lost 200,000 subscribers in the first quarter of 2022, and they projected that they're going to lose 2 million subscribers in the second quarter. Yeah, so they're saying that already they're like bleeding out subscribers. And so 35% of their market value dropped. So they lost like $54 billion in the market. And so it was bad. So their response to this, they said, look, to give confidence in our company in the future, we're going to start cracking down on everyone's passwords. By this time next year, you're not going to be able to password share anymore. So now everyone's pissed off at them. And I mean, rightly so. Like, they were tweeting out, like, that was their thing. Like 3 years ago, there was a tweet now that's circulating from 3 years ago where they said, there's no, like, the best way to show love is password sharing. And people are like, this is your thing. And they gave HBO Max, they gave Apple, they gave Disney just a perfect PR play, because now they can just put up a graphic that says, you're welcome here. We're not going to take away your password sharing. But this is a bad time for Netflix. I think it's that when you have someone like HBO Max, Apple, with something like Severance out right now, which is fantastic if you haven't seen it, Hulu, Disney, there's just too many options, and there's too many options that are putting out better original content than Netflix is.
Agreed.
It's just a point of, who are you going to be giving $15 a month to? Yeah. And Netflix just upped it like 2 months ago. They upped it every plan $2. I mean, people are like, you're not the only game in town now. So people are moving on.
Do you think that this means they might have something maybe in their back pocket or in the holster, some series that you're going to have to absolutely subscribe to that's going to be, almost content you can't miss?
Aren't they getting into gaming?
They are getting into gaming, and another thing that they talked about at this last conference that they had was how they are considering sports. That's the one that it's always strange that they've never really pushed for sports. Amazon pushes for sports. I think Apple just bought a bunch of MLB games. Yeah, so people are pushing in that direction. I don't know why they're not. They aren't very concrete with what they're doing with gaming. And so, Lloyd, to answer your question, I think it would be that. I think if they're going to do it, it would have to be some other type of media. But they're not teasing anything that's making anyone excited. Right now, there's nothing on their roster that is exciting. They put out 500 original shows and movies last year. And, other than Squid Game, can you name one that is, in your top 3 of best things to watch on TV right now?
No.
I don't think they reach the levels of things like Succession. I don't think they reach the level
Ozark.
of hype that people have for...
Oh, yeah. There's
Yeah,
that.
they have.
Yeah, they
Ozark
canceled it.
ends next week.
Right.
It's over next week. I think it comes out next week, and then that's the end of Ozark. What else are we looking... There's nothing that's getting people so excited that they won't say, hey, I'll save $15 and, invest in Apple.
Last week we talked about the success of Batman, and it was released on HBO Max on HBO. Have they gotten an idea of the streaming success now that it has been out for a little over a week?
It did really well. It pulled in a lot of numbers. HBO Max doesn't. They like to just say, "Oh, it did great," and whenever they don't say that, then you know it didn't do well. Like when Space Jam came out, there was nothing. There was crickets. So, but this one, they didn't give the exact numbers, but they did say that they have seen a significant increase in subscribers. And I mean, we'll see. We'll see how the Penguin show is going to be whenever that comes out. It'll be interesting to see just kind of how this whole world of TV show and movies for Batman goes with HBO Max. But if for my money, I would put money behind HBO Max as the best streaming service around right now.
Yeah.
It's better than Amazon, better than Apple. It's good. It's really good.
And it's about the selections, right?
Yeah, well, you've got Warner Brothers behind you. HBO was already the best network. Like, you've got The Sopranos, you've got The Wire, you've got Treme, which if people haven't watched, that's an awesome show, Boardwalk Empire. You've just got really elite content there that's worth the money. You're sure that every single year, and the thing that HBO has that Netflix doesn't have is that they could drop something like Chernobyl, a limited series that gains so much steam, so much conversation. Netflix does that every now and then, like they did it with Squid Game, but I don't think they reach the level of people's like hearts and minds as HBO Max does. HBO Max they've got everything. I mean, their library goes back to the 20s. Like that was the scariest thing I think in the streaming game for Netflix was when is HBO Max going to catch up to us? And they have. I don't know. We'll see if Netflix is able to turn it around, but. Yeah, and Apple's also good. If you haven't seen Severance, really go and check that out. That is a fantastic show. Really creepy, slow burn, but really good. It's interesting to see the competition catch up to Netflix now.
When you talk about HBO, they released limited series after limited series. They did. They're doing Winning Time now, and I don't know if you've seen the trailer for We Own the City, the new thing in Baltimore, where it seems very Wire-ish, where it's like a six-part series, and it has the guy that was the Punisher. It seems very like gritty and grainy. It's going to be awesome. It seems like from the trailer I've watched. So that's how they're kind of like they keep rolling out hit after hit. It seems like.
Yeah, and they plan way ahead with content, and they invest in talent. They invest in writers. They invest in directors. They invest in getting high-profile actors. Like I haven't seen Winning Time. I hear Adrian Brody. Has Adrian Brody shown up yet in that show?
Oh yeah.
How is he?
He's great.
He is.
He's great.
And I love how in Succession they just drop the money to have Adrian Brody on for like half an episode. Like they'll get like the big talent, and they're just willing to spend that money to invest in that. And I haven't seen Winning Time yet, but I really want to. It looks like one of the better Adam McKay things. That looks really good. I'm excited to see that.
The acting is phenomenal. I'm telling you, the acting is what makes it. I mean, it's phenomenal. It's got a great cast, and I mean, Brody, he doesn't. For as great as he is, he doesn't even stand out. I mean, he's around a bunch of his peers. I mean, like it's a bunch of contemporaries that can hang with his acting chops. I mean, it's good.
Does it feel like Goodfellas? The trailer kind of has a feel, and I mean, like in the style, like the camera's always zipping around.
Yeah.
It seems like it's edited
The
very,
camera
very
work is
quickly.
awesome.
It looks like it kind of has that.
Yes, it
Yeah.
does. I mean, it does have that.
They take a lot of chances, I would say.
Yeah.
Like they
Yeah.
break the fourth wall a lot with John C. Reilly, and then they have like very grainy footage, so it
They
feels
do.
like it's the
Okay.
80s. It's just the way it's shot is really well done, and I think you'd appreciate it being the background that
Yeah,
you have.
you would. It's cool.
Speaking of that, what are we
I'll check
reviewing?
that out.
What are we
Yeah.
reviewing at 5 Minute Critic?
This week is Uncut Gems. That review will come out later on
Uncut
today,
Gems.
and it is Uncut Gems. Uncut Gems. It's just that clip is hilarious.
I
That clip is
know.
so funny.
I know.
I think it's the greatest modern movie about addiction. I think before this, it was Leaving Las Vegas. But what this movie does instead of showing you someone who's destroying their life through an addiction and making it really sad, really depressing, it like throws the euphoria that addicts get from, in particular here, it's gambling. And you just, the amount of anxiety you get watching Uncut Gems, which is on Netflix right now.
You
cannot
can't say
do
it
it.
normal anymore.
You can't not do it. It's fantastic. It's one of the if you're into the type of movie that just throws you into a whirlwind of anxiety, you need to check out the movie. And actually, the clip of Julia Fox after the Oscars, I think, was better. Whenever they would ask, "How's your book coming along? When's it coming out? How's your book doing?" And then she just goes, "Oh, it's a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece. I love it so far. It's a masterpiece of a book."
Nate, have a great weekend, buddy.
Wait. The Northman. What did you think?
It's fantastic. It felt like a combination of like the scale, like the old timiness, the vintage quality of like the just hundreds of years ago of Braveheart with like the violence of Passion of the Christ, but the revenge story of Kill Bill. It's good. You check it out. Go check it out in the theater.
What a sell.
Okay.
I dropped a box of lemon heads during the scourging at the pillar of the Passion of the Christ, and my mother's never cut daggers at me. It was an accident,
amazing.
but skittled all the way down the
Yes.
movie theater, and I was just, oh no.
Oh my.
Yeah.
That's the worst. That's the worst.
All-time move by my part.
5-Minute Critic on YouTube. Have a great weekend, buddy. We'll talk next week.
Y'all too.
Thanks, Nate.
Nathan Velasquez checking in from New York City here. Remember, Johnson Spillers brings you the Jordy Culotta Show. Check them out. JohnsonSpillers.com online. Coming down the stretch here, I've got to get my final appointment scheduled with Dr. Johnson and Dr. Spillers to get in there next week and have the tooth implant finally done.
I don't believe it. I think you're going to go more veneers after this.
It's
Your whole mouth is
possible.
going to end up. You're going to be.
possible.
You're going to have Joey Burrow mouth.
It's possible.
Can you give me more
I put the
teeth?
pressure on him yesterday with the po' boy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the test.
That is a good
it was a
test.
hell of a test. I was rattling around a little bit. We made it through.
You haven't lost one in a minute.
Now it's been a minute. Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Johnson Spillers
Unfortunate
online.
for us because it's
I know,
great content.
it was.
Tyron Matthew.
I know.
We'll always have it. JohnSonSpillers.com. Gonzalez and in Baton
What a
Rouge.
decision.
Our
Taking
dentist.
it out.
Yeah, fuck it, man. JohnSonSpillers.com. We will talk to the cooking couple next here and close out this Friday, close out this week here on the Jordy Culotta Show. All right, welcome back here to the Friday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Special shout out to Nathan Velasquez. Thanks to him for stopping by here on the Friday, just like he always does. 5-minute critic. You bet your ass it's good. Iverstein's food. It is almost time for our Foodie Friday segment here. As we see, it is getting plated in the kitchen.
Creamy goodness.
Creamy.
With sausage.
A little heavy cream.
Lots of heavy cream, it looked like.
Lots of sausage.
Probably lots of butter.
Lots of butter. And this is the part of the show where Jordy is almost checked out, so
Oh,
enjoy
God,
him
I
while
know.
you
Are
can.
you going down? Are you about to go down?
Well, it's spaghetti for the Italiano. This is it.
Yes, a
This
very,
is going to put you under.
very early call
Yes.
this morning. Very early spaghetti
Glass of red wine.
on this Friday.
Cigarette.
Don't forget, Mikey Matuk will be live at 4:30 this afternoon from Uncle Earl's. So not the 3:30 start time that we regularly were. 4:30, push back an hour. That way it gives Uncle Earl's an opportunity to be open. And you can come in and enjoy your happy hour. Great place to pregame before Game 2 tonight of LSU, Missouri. If you want to stop in and check out Mic'd Up with Mikey Matuk. Should be a pretty cool show. Sean Ochinko going to be through there.
Legend.
Anthony Renato expected to pass through. But
Legend.
Ochinko, one of the great storytellers that you will ever run across.
His pops just ripped a tricep. Still working out. He is absolutely the Italian meathead that you'd think he would be. And he just, Sean was telling me the other day we were at Mikey's house. He grilled up some steaks. Mikey, he talks a big game on the grill and backs it up. Like he was saying he's the steak guy. Did 4
really?
steaks for everybody and was like talking, yucking it up, holding court, and grilling at the same time.
Which is tough
very
to do.
impressive. Yes, it is. But Ochinko, also one of those people that can. It was very entertaining. I was just taking
audience.
it all in. Absolutely.
Oh, awesome. I wasn't invited to that grill out.
Yeah, I haven't been invited to that either.
Well, this is a mic'd up thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh.
That explains a
exclusive.
lot.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. We've been on the outside looking into that crew
Well,
the entire
totally,
time.
Totally.
Thought it was 420. What do
Y'all
you
just
want
use
from
me for furniture arranging.
Yeah, can you come today?
Nope.
Oh,
Going to the Pelicans game.
with strep.
I don't know about that yet.
How are we looking over there?
I don't know yet.
Sophie.
I don't know yet. The clinic doesn't open until 9.
Oh, no.
I know.
All right. Sophie, a little sick, coming home from
Yeah.
Europe.
Brought home some
Bizarre
Euro
timing.
disease.
Get the Q-tip.
All right, we will have our Foodie Friday segment. Are we ready in there? How are we looking in there? How are we looking in the kitchen?
Where's this man?
I don't even,
We're
they don't even
walking,
care
we're
about
walking,
us.
we're
Yeah.
walking.
They're all in there stuff in their faces.
Let's roll.
Oh.
Oh, we've got a drink on.
Oh,
They
wow.
make this harder every time.
With the
now
coffee.
we've got coffee
I
on
love
there.
it.
With the coffee.
Look at the folded napkins. But mic'd up 4:30 to 6, and we have a bar tab. So come get drinks.
Yes.
Come enjoy the baseball game. It's free drinks. dude.
$100
I don't-
bar tab.
I don't understand what else you need.
Yep. Game 2 tonight of the series. Wow, look at this. Iverstein's every Friday
Pasta for breakfast.
is
Totally normal.
serving us up.
Look at this. Look at this.
Oh, you taking my sauce? I knew he was about
Yes.
to do that.
Hey, that's your food. You cooked it.
All right.
All I did was help plate it.
Hey.
Pasta drunk.
Watch out. I gotta knock these over every time I cook.
Thank you.
Fresh haircut?
Thank you. Fresh cut. Fresh cut?
Fresh cut.
Yeah, bro. I see that. I smell mozzarella.
Mozzarella, little Parmigiana.
Well, wait till
This is
Tracy lays it
Asiago.
on you.
But
She'll lay it on you. She got some
but-
stuff in there.
I better sit down and try and remember what I did.
Tell me what we're eating,
Yes,
Lance.
yes. Study
What are we
before the
eating?
test.
So this is some bolognese, and it's got tricks up its sleeve. So it's I'm gonna see if I can at least give you the rundown of her ingredients.
This is for me, so you just hold it for me.
You got ground beef from Iverstein.
Okay.
You got their primal blend from Iverstein. And some pork. So all three are in that sauce. And then of course we had to add some Italian sausage to the top.
Absolutely, you have to do it for the host.
And then we had to pay a little visit to our friends over at Calandro's.
No, Canatella.
Canatella's.
One of those.
And now
Italians.
I'm gonna turn it over to Christy.
So what are we eating on?
So did y'all? This is bolognese, which is I sort of did some traditional stuff, some non-traditional, because recipes are just
Whatever you want them to be.
suggestions.
Recipes
you read
are made
them,
to
and
be
then
broken.
you're like, okay, I'm gonna let my cooking spirit tell me what to do while I'm cooking this meal. So onions, celery, I started it off with bacon because I don't have pancetta. It's whatever. Bacon is more delicious than pancetta anyway because it's smoked. And salami.
Wow.
So started it off. I think there's video of that, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Possibly, yeah. Lance said, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So frizzled that up, then added the veg, sauteed it down. Y'all know the rules. Brown your meat, brown your veg. Browned my tomato paste, deglaze with wine, added the tomatoes. Let it in.
No, you better pull that video up because she's
Let
forgetting
it
what she did.
simmer. No, this is what I did. Let it simmer all down, delicious. And this morning we cooked the pasta and added the red sauce and added some heavy cream. You can add milk
Heavy
and cook
cream.
it with the red sauce. This red sauce cooked all night in the oven.
Ooh.
Like all night. Like so much
It
flavor.
is, man.
It's insane.
Golly.
It's a little bit of a punch
So
in
Lance,
the face.
did y'all watch the video of Galen?
Yes,
The
we
meats?
played that.
Okay, so we're gonna call this the trifecta blend. It's the primal blend, which is liver and ground beef. Why are you laughing at
I
me?
don't know.
Yeah, right.
Mine go everywhere.
What's a gutter
So-
brains?
You don't even have to know. I mean, it's hard to even get it.
Sometimes you just laugh and you just hope for the
Yeah,
best.
right,
All right.
right. Laugh your way through it.
So there's a bunch of liver in here. How do you like it?
Really?
It's so good for you.
Where's the liver?
Everywhere.
meat.
Nowhere to hide from that liver.
So if you pull up the video of me,
Where is it?
It's in the
hidden.
Slack.
It's not the Slack.
It's in the photo video Slack.
Oh, I was checking Foodie
Bibbidi
Friday.
boppity.
Okay. Hibbity hoppity.
So liver is organ meats. It's like
My
packed
bad.
with nutrients that we absolutely need. Yes.
I'm still a Slack
You need it.
amateur.
We need to be eating organ meats.
With some fava
That's it.
beans and a glass
So
of Chianti.
it is a strong flavor, and some people don't like that. So they do a primal
Nice.
blend where they take 30% liver, and then the rest, the 70% is just ground beef, and they blend it together. It's a delicious blend. No, they have it
No,
in the
it's-
freezer. In my video, you'll see it's like primal blend, 1 pound frozen packages. It's amazing.
Interesting.
So I took that and added more ground beef and ground pork because
pork
is just.
Yeah.
Added my seasoning, lots of fennel, garlic, basil, oregano. I fried my meat, fried the bacons, took everything out, did all the veg, all sauce.
Oh,
Cooked
yeah.
it all night, done. Added cream this morning.
So good.
Jesus, good.
Honestly, pretty
And
simple, right?
carrots, look at the carrots. Okay, so carrots are super traditional in red sauce because
Oh,
that's
the
where you
knife
get your
skills.
sweetness from.
Yes.
You gotta have
Onion,
the nice
celery,
skills.
carrots. That what do they call it?
Cereal cutter.
Sofrito.
This,
Sofrito. Yeah,
It's
that's
also
the
the-
that's the Italian Trinity.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Very clever.
Oh, it's Italian
that
too. So
that is
nice.
that's just a mirepoix.
Introduce our guest.
This is
Christy.
Luke. This is Luke. Actually, this is my coach who whipped my ass right into shape.
Yeah.
Not like a drill sergeant though.
No.
Very super chill, just working out twice a week. Got strong as fuck. It was amazing.
We're gonna do some food and fitness
Yes.
programming on FM Food that should start up this week. So we will have some fitness tips for you, based with some food tips for you, coming out of our programming on FM Food. That will be all over our social media. So make sure you're following FM Food at FM_food on Instagram and on the YouTube page, and you will start to see some content coming out. We will have weekly food and fitness tips for you coming through, as we will have some workout strategy and some food that you can put together that we're really looking forward to.
Yeah, I'm excited for this.
Yeah.
You
So
guys work out after we eat all this?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Tons of
Directly after.
100 burpees. Yeah.
last week I was snoring. I was snoring in a meeting after last
Jordy
week's
literally
meal.
fell asleep here.
I did.
Whenever we were doing like a little test stream, and Jordy's like, "Oh, I'll be there." He shows up, gets in the chair, and just conks out. It's like, again, the Foodie Friday got him again.
Got me again. My favorite segment though.
This is amazing. I'm just going to tell you.
It is great. It is great. Tell me about Iverstein's this week.
I have a mouthful of food.
Sorry. Go ahead.
One of the best parts about a lot of everything that she's got here is it's all right there ready to go and grab. They've got
Right.
fresh ground beef that you can go get also.
Everything was in the freezer, so
Yeah,
can,
if you just
it's
pop in and grab it.
Vac sealed in 1 pound packages. It couldn't be any easier.
They thaw so easy, by the way. the way those little flat
Yeah, you
packages
can leave
are.
them in the fridge for like 2 days and they'll be defrosted, or you can just run them under cool water.
Yeah.
Look, all the delicious things about liver. We need liver. Eat your organ meats.
Ooh, there's that
Look,
breakfast
there's the
sausage
primal
hiding
blend.
in there too.
So it was a great experience. And then on top, we did some of their Italian sausage, which is delicious.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw one of Galen's pictures of him cooking meat sauce, and then he did Italian sausage on top, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, we got to do that.
Doubling up on meat? You
Double
know I'm
meat.
about that life.
Double
So-
meat, double butter.
Exactly.
Double
Always.
We
burgers.
did it.
Always.
Always.
All right,
And then-
Foodie Friday. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I went to Canatella. They made this fresh pasta.
Dude, the fresh
in-house.
pasta.
And I know
The
you've heard me
pasta
talk
is
about their
incredible.
olive
That is-
salad. I love Miss Pam from Cantel. Like, I sat there and shot the shit for at least 30 minutes. The kids
Yeah,
were
good
like, I'm
people in
ready to
there.
go.
Great
So
people.
good.
Yep.
Great people.
I snagged the cheese, the pasta, and some canned tomatoes. And that cheese is so good. That's Asiago with rosemary and olive oil, and I ate lots of it in the back while
So good.
Look at the dog just waiting for something to fall.
Bruh, that's
She's
little
the
ladybug,
best
man, and she
girl.
gets some meat too, let me tell you.
Quick.
She's
She's like
a
a
fast
Roomba.
little vacuum.
Yeah.
Very fast little vacuum.
Make sure you are keeping up with You Bet Your Ass It's Good and FM Food, so you can keep up with all the videos and the recipes of what you're looking at every
Yes.
single week. So if you're looking at what we're eating and you want to carry it over into your kitchen, you can do that very easily. Just follow us over at FM_food and at You Bet Your Ass It's Good for all of what's coming up here on a Foodie Friday. Go ahead, what you got?
The canned tomatoes that you use, is that the only? Those are the ones that I see everywhere. Is that the only ones
Was that
you're
Chinto?
supposed to
Yeah, that's
use?
Chinto.
Yes.
They're delicious.
Yeah, it just seems
it's
like that's the
so
one.
easy. I don't know. That's what they have at Canatella. I mean, they have them at Costco
I'm gonna trust
too.
the Italians
Just-
on the Italian food.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. I used crushed tomatoes. That's what I like. My
Yep.
mom, I grew up with her using the whole peeled tomatoes, and she would crush them in her hand, which was fun.
It's intimidating.
I know it was a little. Right?
Once you get on your report card,
You go to your room. Let me-
I don't want to eat that. You're eating it.
Yes.
I'll eat it. I'll eat it. I'll eat it.
Y'all get your asses to Iverstein and buy some of this meat. It's
Yes.
so good.
Yeah.
Iverstein's on Perkins Road. Remember, you can find him there every Friday. Our Foodie Friday segment is compliments of our friend Galen Iverstein over at Iverstein's Butcher Shop and the Cooking Couple. Make sure you're following them on FM_food. As we've been telling you, more content coming. We're looking forward to the food and fitness coming up here, as it will be good content for you to learn on how you can kind of work out and base food with it on some good tips from our professionals.
Just brown that tomato paste. Can they see the video?
And then the red wine.
Everybody see
Oh, the red wine. You saw the
Yeah,
red wine sneak
okay,
in
so
there?
I used a light red wine, and apparently my buddy Aaron Lunsford was like, well, you fucked it up because you're supposed to use white wine. And I was like, well, it's going to still
too
taste
late.
good, okay?
red with red.
Yeah.
Why not?
But
It's
for
great.
the bolognese, you're supposed to use white, and I honestly did not know that.
This is
Learn something
fantastic.
new
The
every
sauce
day.
And I
is great.
disagree with it. So
I don't disagree. I don't
Which
really
part?
care.
Well,
The
don't-
white
you got to
wine,
use
it's
white wine with a
irrelevant.
bolognese.
should
Get the
try
hell
it,
out
try
of
it
here.
again and bring it back.
Yeah, we should try again.
Cooking-
Yeah.
It cooked for like 12 hours, so it's irrelevant what wine I use. There's just all the flavor packed in there. It doesn't matter.
It's incredible. All right, I'm about to finish this up. Any more questions for the Cooking Couple?
I think, don't we have a collaboration next week?
Yay!
Yes.
It's happening.
It's happening.
Lily next week. I'm
Lily,
so excited.
she's
Ran
coming
into
in.
her at Iverstein.
Yes, that's what she told me.
It was so great. I was leaving and she got there and we were like, hey, let's do it. Let's collaborate right now. Let's pick a date. Next Friday. Done.
Done.
I'm
So
very
excited.
excited.
Lily's going to be a part of Foodie Friday.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
The collaboration everyone saw coming. Kitchen Confidence with Lily and the Cooking Couple.
Yep,
Bet
and,
Your
and
Ass
I
Is
owe
Good,
her
FM
some
Food.
graphics right now. She messaged me yesterday. She said, "Hey, I need a logo and I need a picture of you guys because
at
she's
her.
working
Yeah.
on something."
Yes,
so
yes, she's on top of her game.
Yep.
I
Took her
love
5
it.
minutes this
Way more responsible than I am. Just
Yes,
gonna be
and her
honest.
son,
Yes.
for sure.
Lord,
Where do you think I got it from? But she'll probably bring a cocktail, so be ready for that.
Okay.
That's
Oh,
her,
I like-
yes,
Ooh,
absolutely.
on
That's her
a Friday
move.
morning.
a little morning
Yes,
cocktail.
I'm about
absolutely.
it.
I love it.
What was that you just dumped on top of that sauce? What was that?
Give it to him.
I wasn't watching. Salt,
She's touching
garlic,
up. Well, you're also touching up your herbs too.
butter, herbs, yeah.
Butter.
Herb
So, also bolognese traditionally only uses salt and pepper and maybe like fresh rosemary or something. I added fresh rosemary just this morning, but I did put oregano in my sauce. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I broke whatever rules I wanted because I just don't give a shit.
Is that a rule?
I mean, that's just, tradition.
Yeah.
But I don't care about tradition. I'm going to do what I want because I'm going to make it delicious.
Exactly.
You bet your ass it's good. Make sure you follow them on Instagram. Make sure you're following FM Food. And every Friday, it is Foodie Friday. Compliments of our friends over at Iverstein's for everybody over here at the Culotta Show. Have a great weekend. Remember, Mikey Matuk and Mic'd Up coming up at 4:30 this afternoon over at Uncle Earl's. If you're looking for some live programming and a place to pregame before Game 2 of LSU Missouri, stop in and see Uncle Earl's and Mikey Matuk for Mic'd Up at 4:30 this afternoon. We've got a $100 bar tab over there. Can't promise you that we'll spend the entire 100 on you. If you come over there, though, we'll buy you a drink. Come stop by and check us out over at Mic'd Up for Uncle Earl's this afternoon, 4:30. And for the crew over here, have a great weekend. We're back with you on 7 a.m. Monday morning. Remember, the Clout Chasers on Sunday night, the Clout Demons on Sunday night coming at you. So make sure you set up for that. It's right here on this YouTube channel as they'll be back with you. Have a great weekend. Let's jump into this spaghetti.
Go eat your liver.